Peace, YouTube family. It's your boy Zay coming back at you with another one. You dig? You know how we do. We get right into it. So this video, I want to talk about the importance of listening to the youth, right? So I had went to an event yesterday, and it was an event at Columbia High School out in Decatur, Georgia, and it was called Protecting the Youth. And it was led by the students, but it was they had partnered with 11 Alive, so they filmed it and all. They had speakers, they had guest panelists, and they had the students as a question, asking the questions to the different, I guess, entrepreneurs and people in mental health and people in these different fields, answering the questions from the youth, and just seeing how they ask the questions. And also they had like videos of the students interacting with the 11 Alive host who was doing pretty much like the segue into the different topics, into the different panelists. She was basically like the MC of the event. So before the event, they was doing like little setups, right? They was doing little setups of them just interacting with the students and just allowing the students to talk about different topics. And I was able to see, it's something I already knew, but it reminded me again of how intelligent the youth is, bro. How intelligent, how smart, how gifted these kids are, bro. If only y'all would, if I'm not saying all of y'all, but if only some people, parents, adults, boomers, would pay attention and just listen sometimes to these teens, to these kids, to these adolescents, bruh. You can learn from them, bruh. You can learn from them, bro. I'm telling you, that's the best state of mind to be in, to where you can feel like you can learn from any and everybody, bro. So when we start allowing our youth to, and case in point, at the event, bro, I was seeing the type of questions that they was asking. They was very high level questions, very well thought out questions, very, very intricate questions that was detailed and hit on specific topics. They wasn't general questions. They was very specific, and they required you to sometimes even think about your response. So, where are these things for our kids to? Where are these places for our kids to go and express their emotions, or be open and be vulnerable, especially in the Black community? Because since birth, it's been programmed in us to suppress it subconsciously, and especially with the youth, nobody respects their issues because you're too young to have any real problems. I used to always hate that when I was growing up. Oh, what you need to, you young, you don't got no, just because my problems aren't your problems doesn't mean I didn't have problems. It's the same for them. Just because your problems may be bills or this and that, or, to you, it may seem like much more grander than what they're going through, but that's unfair to them for you to completely, act like their problems don't exist because you feel like your problems are much more important than what they're going through. So then that's when we create that disconnection of, okay, the youth don't want to talk to y'all, and adults get mad when the youth don't want to talk to y'all about things. Is because, for one, you don't take their problems serious. You act like they're overreacting. You act like what they're going through isn't real. You act like they're not growing up in adolescent years, in a very difficult time to grow up in, whereas a bunch of stuff trying to be programmed in them daily, social media in their face daily, all these different things coming at them on a daily basis, and we try to act like, oh, they not going through nothing, they just kids. That's so disrespectful to them. It's so disrespectful to them. And I've been seeing this for the longest, bro, even, of course, through my generation, but seeing how they come up, that's why I'm so adamant of getting out to these events and even getting on my platform and just speaking on these things dealing with the youth, bro. Before anything, I'm a philosopher and I'm a youth advocate. The entrepreneurs, the business, and all that comes after my community work and my philosophical work, bro. And part of my community work is making sure that the ones that come after me have these platforms to speak on, and have these safe spaces to talk about these things that they're dealing with without any adults or, old heads coming around and saying, oh man, y'all just overreacting. We had to do this. Just cause you had to deal with that and just suffer through it, that don't mean they should. Stop trying to make your reality their reality, because deep down, you wish your reality went different from what it did, how it did go. You wish you had the courage that these kids are having to stand up and say, nah, this ain't right. Like, nah, we going through this, we going through that. We should be able to express our feelings. We should be able to come to y'all and talk about these things without being automatically chastised or automatically judged like you weren't once in our position. Oh, older folks kill me sometimes with that, where they act like they was never young. They act like they never made mistakes. They act like, just they act like, I don't know. And that's what caused our disconnect. Of course, it's always important to respect your elders, but respect goes both ways. Respect definitely goes both ways. So you can't look down on the youth. You can't talk about them all the time and then expect them to give you the most upstanding amount of love and support and respect. You created that disconnection. And I'm not completely blaming the adults. It's both sides. We all take responsibility in where we at. But as I'm listening to the youth, I'm hearing them willing to accept the accountability and responsibility on their behalf. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, they can only become what they're being programmed to be. They can only become what was being put in front of their face. They can only become to what they're exposed to. So if they're not exposed to these different things, these different career paths or different, endeavors in life of going down different paths, how can we expect them to become that? We always get mad about our kids in the black community. All they want to do is play football. All they want to do is play basketball. All we exposed to them since a young age is sports, which is why I'm so grateful and so much gratitude and appreciation to my moms for exposing me to so many different things. At the time, as a kid, I hated it. And I was just like, why am I in all this different stuff? But as I grow in age, I kind of wish when I was back at that age, I wish I embraced it and indulged in it more. And you know what I'm saying? And allow myself to be in it more instead of being kind of, against it in a sense. And I still learned a lot of things from those instances and whatnot. But I feel like if I would have embraced it more than I did, oh man. But just her doing that simple act of having me involved and exposing me to a bunch of different activities and groups and organizations and environments. Now, at the age I'm at now, anywhere I go, I feel comfortable. I can be in an all-white neighborhood, and I ain't gotta change how I might. Of course, I might use less slang, but I wouldn't even call that code switching or trying to fit in. It's just you speak how the people around you can best resonate with what you're saying. So quick note, because I hear a lot of that whole code switching and trying to what's the word I'm looking for, fit in with I wouldn't even call it that, because slang and certain vernacular is kind of like a different language. So you wouldn't speak Spanish to a person who speaks Indian. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta. It's all about being able to maneuver through different environments. And once you learn and are able to, once you learn and start to understand how to maneuver through different environments and to intermingle with different dialogues and different dialects and learning how to play with that and learn how to play with different wordplay depending on where you at to best resonate and to get the people that's around you to best resonate with what you're pushing out for your best interest, bro. You become a cheat code, dog. You become a cheat code. So it kind of took me from away from my path, but it brings me all back to this, man. Just hearing those kids yesterday, I couldn't do nothing but just smile. I felt like a parent in there, bro. I ain't know not one student that go to Columbia High School, bro. I was invited to come up to the event by one of the teachers, and I plan on going back up there to actually speak to some of the classes. But like I said, I didn't know not one student up there, but I was just smiling like it's just so much excellence. Even when the band was playing at the end, just so much excellence and so much greatness that comes from within our youth, bro. And if we just started embracing that more, like the event that I went to yesterday, I feel as if that type of event should be happening in every single community. Every single community, bro. Because the thing about it, it's not just intelligent kids at that school. It's intelligent schools in every single community and neighborhood, even in the hood. I'm telling you, even in the hood, even in the communities that you think it ain't no smart kids, ain't no intelligent kids, some intelligent kids. I'm telling you, they might not be as book smart as, you know, some of these other schools. And I ain't gonna get into that whole book smart thing, because that book smart thing don't really tell a person, can't really gauge a person's true intellect level, you know, because there's a lot of things in this world that you can't learn from a book. Some things you gotta learn through experience, through observations, and through analyzing real life situations. You know, so it's amazing to know that the youth are out here and they understand that. And here's my thing. For them to want to put an event like this together, that means they understand the state that we in as a community. That means they understand some of the same things I see that's hindering our youth. They see it too. So it showed me I'm not tripping. It showed me I'm going hard for the youth for a reason, because they kind of verified my exact thoughts and my exact feelings on how I feel like everything is going with the connection with our youth and with our parents, with the youth, with the parents, and with the older generations. You know, it's a disconnection. And like one of the students up there said, if our problems just keep getting pushed away instead of, you know, somebody stepping in and helping us, how can we ever get to that point of getting to that place of happiness or joy or peace or wanting to elevate or wanting to be great, if every time we come with an issue, it's an issue for you to try to help me with my issue? You know what I'm saying? We downplay everything that they go through. We act like their emotions aren't valid because they're a kid or they're young, which I never understood that since a kid. Like, what do you mean? Just because I'm a kid, emotions and hard times aren't just an adult thing. That's not just strictly set aside just for adults. You know, you might have different obstacles that you deal with once you get older, but you still have tough obstacles that you deal with when you're younger. That's important for people to address at that time. If those if they never get addressed at that time, that person can never grow past that stage of, or grow past and heal past that stage that of being that adolescent, of being that child. So they're still holding on to this baggage from when they was younger, instead of having people around them to help them with this issue, so it doesn't compound and compound and compound. Even when they're adult, they're still dealing with things that are rooting from that one problem or those couple of problems from when they was younger. And the speakers were great, man. They hit on a lot of things that I speak about a lot. For instance, like exposure. Exposure is one of the biggest things that I think we lack in the Black community. And a lot of times it don't even take a lot of money how we think. It just take people taking initiative to say, hey, this is what we're just gonna put the information in front of them first. We ain't gotta have all the resources and the funding and the fancy. We just gotta put the information in front of them first. The ones who are really interested in it, they're gonna be interested in it. You know? So exposure. Then when they started talking about mental health, one of the things I took away from the situation, and one of the things I've always said, is when you having those low times, feel that. Don't try to suppress it, and that's big, even within my generation. And I'm sure that's an issue with the younger generation, suppressing these issues. And I know this for any generation. A lot of people tend to suppress these issues that they go through the forms of alcohol or weed or other things that take your mind off of whatever you're dealing with. So it temporarily takes your mind off of whatever you're dealing with. Then when it comes back, you back to your root reality. So then that's when that person got to immediately get back to that state of, oh, I got to forget this. That's why when I be seeing people, I'm just smoke the pain away. Good luck. It's going to be there when you come back down. So you never smoke the pain away, bro. It just goes to a place that hides within your mind. Then when they see you done sober down, and it might not come back right away, but it's going to hit you. And when it hits you, it's going to be, then you're going to have to get higher next time. Because the way it hit you this time, it hit you harder than it did last time. Paul. But you're going to have to get higher. So that's another thing. And it's just a bunch of things that they talked about. And overall, just come back, I was just so ecstatic to see the youth up there talking. And I know I'm sitting up here sounding like, oh, hey, I'm only 24, and I was probably the youngest guest that showed up that you know, everybody else was like parents and, you know, older guests. But I feel like I need to be at those type of events because I'm at that perfect segue age of to where I'm not too far removed from y'all, but I'm old enough to where I got some game, I got some wisdom, I got some, you know, I've been through a good amount of things, and I've also had plenty of conversations with the elderly, and I'm able to translate the information that I get from them and segue it to y'all in a way to where we can connect and better understand it on our level, as opposed to some of them trying to receive information from the elders. They, you know, they might not know how to receive it necessarily from them. So just kind of creating that connection and just being around them and having your face shown within these different communities. It's important, bro. It's important. Like, the stuff my purpose really down here for is not to make money. It's not to buy fancy cars and be around a bunch of beautiful women and have these big houses. Those are just going to be side things to what comes from my main purpose down here, bro. If I ever even want some of that stuff, you know, which I probably will. But that's not what I don't get up and think about, oh, man, I gotta get to it because I gotta get that big house, bro. If that was my job, I'd have been stopped doing what I do. I don't think I've been motivated by materialistic things since my teen years. Like, my teen years, I used to be kind of motivated by materialistic stuff. But once I started getting to like 20, 21, I was just like, don't really motivate me, bro. It don't, bro. I'm already a minimalist. I'm already a minimalist. So even if I get some, even when in the future when I do get some nice things, I'm still gonna be a minimalist. Like within my crib, it's for sure gonna be a nice crib, but I'm not gonna have a bunch of stuff everywhere. Because I don't use a bunch of stuff and I don't need a bunch of stuff. So to close it out, because I know I keep going on side tangents, but there's so many ways I can go with this. Listen to the youth, man. They have a piece of the puzzle that no other generations have, and we have to embrace that and accept that instead of trying to belittle them all the time and say, "Oh no, stay in your place. Oh no, we got the answer to this. No, you just listen up and follow." And that's one of the biggest issues with the black community right now. Is that some of these elderly people, that's up there in age, that's trying to still be at the head of these movements. Your job is for wisdom now. Your job is to provide wisdom for the new ones to come up because back in the day, it was the young people that was leading the movements. But because the elderly don't trust the youth because of how the youth is portrayed through the media, and a lot of these youth that gets portrayed through the media is because they didn't have their parents in the home, split up homes, single mother households, or even single father households, just turmoil, bad communities. The amount of programming that get pushed in their face is way more than the amount of programming that was getting pushed back in the day. Now, you didn't have a phone. You couldn't just go. You couldn't see all these things when you was a kid. That's a lot on their minds. You got to think about how much that is on their mind. And of course you can always say, "Oh, they could just put down the phone." Yeah, but just like you are, I see more adults on their phone more than the kids nowadays. So it's easy for a person to say that, but most people not really even gonna do that to where they just get off their phone and just, because it's been programmed to make it a part of your life. So we gotta start listening to these kids. It's intelligent kids all over the country, all over the world, and when we start embracing and listening to them and bringing in their perspective on the blueprint instead of leaving their perspective out and trying to make the blueprint without them, while us not understanding that they're the ones that's going to have to be the change. They're the ones that's going to be the, whether you want to accept it or not, you can't go back and be young again. Give it up. You had your time. Respectfully. But you had your time. It's time for a new generation to come about it. And the best thing you can do, the best thing we need from the elders and the the wise ones is to give that wisdom, give that knowledge that you have. In a non-judgmental, without chastising the youth, without looking down on them, without, of course, the youth still need structure, of course, but it's a certain way of going about it though. It's a certain way. So that's all I got, and I'll catch y'all next video, man. Peace.